In this video, I'm going to cover our zone interactions. Each individual zone has its own conveniently located user interface via zone buttons. In order to activate the buttons, I'm going to go and left-click any particular zone. In this case, I'll be selecting the supply zone above. I'm simply going to left-click the outline, which is going to enable the user interface on that zone alone. Notice there's no user interface on the zone below because I've not clicked that zone. I'm going to move from left to right and discuss each one of the zone buttons. If I left click the E with the greater than symbol, it's going to extend the zone to the left of the chart. The purpose here is to incorporate support and resistance with our supply area. For all intents and purposes, we have a great supply level, and we may want to know how powerful that area in itself has been in the past. Has support become resistance? Has resistance become support multiple times? And so on. This is a confluence measure. I can left click, which will disable that extension. Moving to the right, we have our double X button. I'm not going to click this button for video purposes, as I will need the functionality to conclude the video. Suffice to say, if I left click the double X button, it will indeed remove the zone from our chart as well as any calculations made from that zone. Next we have VP, which is volume profile order flow analysis. If I left click VP, you're going to see all of the order flow analysis display within the zone. Just beside VP, there's a plus button. If I click plus, it's going to extend this to the right side of my chart. And I also want you to take note what happened to that button as it is extended. You now see a minus. If I go back and left click minus, it is indeed going to unextend the volume profile. Moving to the right, we have VA, or value area. If I left click VA, it is going to display the value area labels. I can of course hit the plus sign via left click, and that will also extend the labels. I can unextend them by then clicking the minus sign. I can toggle off the value area labels by simply left clicking once more. Moving forward, we have PC, which is point of control. If I left click point of control, the label will be displayed. I can then extend and unextend that point of control label. I can then toggle this back off by another left click of the PC button. We then move into our VR, which is value ratio. By left clicking once, we can display all of our value ratio information. As discussed in a previous video of this presentation, this contains all of our buy-sell ratio as well as our average totals for the zones combined. Left clicking once more will remove the volume ratio from that zone. We're going to now move into our final two buttons that you see currently. However, these two buttons also have additional functionality. First and foremost, let's learn what they are. TF stands for trend following, CT stands for counter trend. Both of these buttons are designed to display our order management labels for the corresponding type. For example, TF will display the order management labels for trend following scenarios, whereas CT will display our counter trend order management labels. I'm going to go ahead and left click TF, and as you can see, we have multiple labels that pop up to the right side of our chart. The red being our stop, green being our entry, we have a trigger line as well as our target far below. You also will see that there are two new buttons as mentioned. This is the additional functionality. At any time, if I am happy with the order placement, I can simply left click submit orders, and it will indeed submit the orders exactly as they are here. For all intents and purposes, if I left click submit orders, it is going to submit my entry at 1295.50s with my stop at 1300.50s, trigger line as well as my target. It is going to be submitted as a bracket order. If, however, I make an alteration, for all intents and purposes, I may move the trigger line down or alter the target up. I could also move the stop and or the entry. If for any reason at that point I'm unhappy with the changes that I've made, I can simply left click reset orders, and it will indeed move the orders back to its original state as you see here. Finally, we have the CT button, and as mentioned, this is counter trend. If we have our TF or trend following order management labels displayed, there's really no need to left click this button again to remove the labels if I would prefer to see the counter trend labels. I can simply left click CT and that will indeed remove my trend following labels and interchange those with my counter trend labels. So I'm going to left click CT, and as you can see, I have very different labels on my chart now. Again, I'm going to switch between the two. I can left click TF, very different labels. I can left click CT, that will also give me my counter trend labels, which are very different. If I don't want to see either or, of course I can left click the corresponding button and it will remove all of them from my chart along with the additional functionality buttons below.